As you say, we haven't been playing well now, but the team spirit is fantastic. You know, it's a great bunch of fellas, and we're all together, and we're fighting for one another, and we're working hard, and that's the aim of the game today. We're going to go out and work for the whole 70 minutes, and hopefully at the end of it we'll be coming away with a victory.
It's so difficult though to retain an Ulster title of all the provinces.
Well, history would tell that there. I mean, Tyrone done it there a few years back, but I think it was 20 years before that, before the last two teams, the last teams had done back-to-back titles. But we're there as champions, and we're there to be knocked over our perch, and we're there for the challenge, and we're up for it.
Well, we look forward to seeing you hopefully sometime during this Ulster final. Diarmuid Marsden, thank you for joining us. Well, of course, my co-commentator here in Clonus today is a former Donegal and Mayo star, Martin Carney. Your thoughts on this game, Mark?
Well, I think it's going to be a grim, very physical encounter, Marty, and one of the factors that we didn't expect is actually the weather. The weather is roasting here in Clonus today, and it's a kind of a saucer shape effect that takes an awful lot of energy out of players. And one of the things that I believe will be important will be the use of substitutes. And in that respect, I believe Derry are very well serviced in the sense that they have both Brawley and Seamus Downey in their subs bench, and I think that could stand to them in good stead at the end of the day.
Proving a very effective sub on that day. Maybe history could repeat itself. Muldoon would be a huge loss to Derry if he was out. But Armagh are champions, and of course they're not champions of Ulster easily, and they won't give up their title easily either.
Experiencing Mediterranean weather for this Ulster football final. A great buzz and excitement around Clonus town, and as you can see, the Derry minor footballers, having won the Ulster title, are still out on the pitch. But the big news is, of course, is that Armagh are on the pitch and lining out as selected. The Ulster champions team sheet includes two major changes, but we'll wait for that for a moment, because here come Derry. Speculation about Enda Muldoon's availability before the game seems to have been squashed by Eamon Coleman just a short time ago, when he announced that Enda Muldoon will start at full forward for Derry. And that's a huge boost indeed to the Oakleaf county. Derry going for their 7th 5 of the All-Ireland winning under-21 team starting. The Derry selectors have opted for just one change in their starting lineup since their win over Antrim in the semi-final replay, and that's at left half forward. Owen McCluskey has returned from suspension and injury to reclaim the goalkeeping position. His defence seemed a little porous on occasions in this championship, but are retained on block. Anthony Tuchel is playing the best football of his career at midfield, while the attack sees Joe Cassidy replacing Seamus Downey at number 12, and consequently Johnny McBride moves to the corner. Out, and as you can see, he'll be communicating with his fellow selectors Damien Cassidy and Brendan McRory right throughout the match. At St. Tiernach's Park, Clonus, it's Aaron Navian at the start of the Ulster football final. It's a very colourful setting. Capacity crowd at St. Tiernach's Park. And indeed, both these teams found it rather difficult to train this week because of the political situation in Northern Ireland. Armagh took the unusual step of travelling southwards when only 16 turned up for training on Monday night. They went down to St. Malachy's club in Sheila in County Louth. And that's in fact where they had their training during the week, and indeed their press conference. The scene is set. No changes at midfield, except for the fact that Paul McGrain, as expected, is beside John McEntee. And Tony McEntee, John's twin brother, is now at centre-half forward. Sean Marty Lockhart has gone from the number 3 position to take up the position of right corner back to take care of Oisin McConville. The referee has gotten the all clear from the Ulster Council to start the match. Match official is Michael Curley from the St. James's Club. That's an amalgamation of Renmore and Merville. And this is his very first Ulster football final. First free of the game. It puts Armagh into the attack, and the Ulster champions open their account. 13 seconds of play. The form that Barry O'Hagan and Stephen MacDonald showed in the semi-final, once again evident here, and MacDonald was the one who finished it. Breaking ball is to Derry, but the free, more importantly, is to Armagh. Kieran Hughes. Kieran McKeever sending it low, down towards Johnny McBride. Kieran McGeeney getting his first touch of this Ulster final. Dispossessed cleanly, and the initiative swings to Joseph Cassidy. Needs the support of Johnny McBride. Equaliser on its way. Not even a minute and a half of action in this Ulster football final, and we have 2 scores, both of them, thankfully, from play. '97 captain of the under-21 All-Ireland winning side. He has graduated now to senior ranks. Brendan Tierney's kick out comes straight to Dermot Heaney. Kieran McKeever. Back to Johnny McBride. McBride given a roving roll. That's a blatant throw by the corner forward, and well spotted by the match official Michael Curley. No doubt about the foul here. John McEntee spreading it over to the far side, but Oisin McConville unable to make it. Paul McFlynn, left half back for Derry, taking the sideline kick. Jerry Reid winning the ball, but fouling Enda Muldoon, so it's a free for Derry. But his tactic is quite evident. He's going to be attacking that ball and staying with Muldoon as much as possible. Well, people in Derry will say to you that this gentleman is playing his best football ever. I'm a little bit annoyed with some of the comments during the week that is his best football since '93. I've never seen him play better in Derry. The loose ball, Brendan Tierney is down on it. It's still a bit of a scramble, but the goalkeeper comes away with it and feeds into McNulty, but the referee had given the goalkeeper the free. Well, there was a bit dodgy there for a moment, but Tierney did well. He was there and very loose just for a moment. But Tierney did well, very well in fact. Anthony Toll. This is the option that they have in Derry. Now that Enda Muldoon is at full forward, they can send it in low or high. Playing a defensive role here is midfielder John McEntee. This is his captain, Kieran McGeeney. Kieran McKeever, perfectly positioned. Then he uses an intelligent ball to Muldoon, left idle just for a flicker of a moment. And Enda Muldoon puts Derry in front. Just shows you the awesome talent that this Ballinderry player possesses. Left idle just for a moment. It's the first time that Derry have led in this game.
Yeah, that's a wonderful score, Marty, and I must say you compliment both teams. They're trying to use the ball wide, they're trying to use the kick passes distinct from the punch pass, and they're both trying to get the ball in quickly to the full forward lines, where both seem to have advantage over the opposing full back lines.
There might only be 5 minutes gone, Martin, but the ingredients are right for a real thriller here.
Very much so, Martin. The thing that encourages me is that both teams seem to be concentrating on going for the ball. There's none of the old niggle going on off the ball that has been a feature of Ulster Championship games this year.
Kieran McKeever has picked up an injury, as we're looking at some members of the audience. Seamus Mallon on the right, beside Martin McGuinness in the blue shirt. And it is very, very warm here in Clones. You also see Father Brian Darcy there in the background. Kieran McKeever is able to resume as Brendan Tierney takes the kick out. Enda Muldoon, either high or low. That's the option that's available to Derry once he's playing at full forward. Over-robust challenge by Anthony Tohill gives the free to Derry, or rather to Armagh, and the initiative gone away from Derry for the moment. Michael Curley speaking, and you can see the reason why. He is in fact issuing a yellow card to the Derry captain for a high challenge on the Armagh player. Paul McFlynn, Henry Downey, Paul O'Rourke. Just unfortunate to send it to the left and wide. The first wide of the game for Armagh.
Program.
One of the co-managers for Armagh, Brian Canavan, in charge along with Brian McAlinden since October 1995. Henry Downey, perfectly positioned, manning that pivotal role for Derry. Eamon Burns feeding it back. This is the first time Jerry Reid won the ball, and the reason is quite simple. He was fouling Enda Muldoon, and well spotted by the referee. Second time he's done it, really, and Jerry Reid could have a few problems with Mr. Muldoon from Ballinderry.
Yes, one point actually that's worth noting is that Michael Curley is applying the rules very strictly. He's not letting anything develop. He's not allowing any dirt get into the game. And maybe, okay, people will say he's been too strict, but again, he spotted the foul and correctly get the free into Derry.
So Anthony Tohill now going for his second point. And Derry lead by 3 points to 1. In fact, Anthony Tohill's first point of the game. 1 point and 1 yellow card now for the Derry captain. Anthony Tohill comes with the fist to try and knock it away in the waiting arms of the Armagh midfielders. It's a free for John McEntee. And you can see the reason why. Cathal O'Rourke did very well to beat Paul McFlynn. Sends it in long, but there's nobody really there. The referee has blown his whistle, and as O'Rourke was sending that ball in, he was fouled. And again, very good refereeing by Michael Curley. And this is a relatively easy opportunity for the champions. Let's just watch this again. You can see as he was kicking it, the challenge from Dermot Dugan was a little bit late.
A little bit late, but I think he's a little bit unlucky actually to be pulled for that.
When you see it in replay, I'd have to agree. Carl O'Rourke with 5 points in the championship so far. It's his first of the Ulster final. And just 1 point separates the teams. Derry will be well aware of the Armagh half-forward line, because last year, collectively, they scored 6 points, 2 points each in the semi-final. Great catch. Once again, it's the Derry captain, Johnny McBride. On the turn, sends it straight over the bar. Second point of the match for the corner forward. This is a very good movement off the ball by Derry, resulting in this very good score. Armagh try to respond. Barry O'Hagan getting away from Henry Downey, but not for very long. And under pressure concedes possession. Ryan McCusker. Long ball down towards Enda Muldoon. Given a lot of space by Ger Reid. The ball inside is for Eamon Burns. Carried a little bit too much pace. Johnny McBride provides the support, but Brendan Tierney has to prevent the 45. A very open, entertaining Ulster final so far. Kieran Hughes gets away with possibly overcarrying. And charging through the heart of the Derry defence is Paddy McKeever. Runs into a wall of Derry jerseys. Back to Carl O'Rourke. Great block down by Kieran McKeever. Dermot Heaney holding up possession and then giving it long down towards Enda Muldoon. Ger Reid knocks it away. Well picked up by Johnny McBride, who is quite industrious. Seems to be all over the Clonus pitch at the moment. It's an easy ball, however, for Brendan Tierney. John McEntee. Kieran McGeeney, the captain, plays his club football now with Nafiana and formerly with Mullabone. A great catch. Gone inside. Here's a chance. Stephen McDonald! A masterful goal by any standards. The approach was superb, but the finish was quite magnificent. Right into the corner of the Derry net. Owen McCluskey hardly saw it, really. Wonderful strike. Barry O'Hagan was fouled, so it's going to be a free for Armagh. Quickly taken. Left half back, Andrew McCann. Sean Marty Lockhart. Playing a deep role at the moment is Eamon Burns. As Derry have to re-establish their authority now, particularly around midfield. Great goal though, Martin Kearney.
Wonderful goal. Again, the tactic of letting the ball in high and quick into the Derry full backline paid dividends. And the layoff from O'Hagan was absolutely wonderful, and the finish by McDonald exquisite.
Enda Muldoon went very, very close. Tony McEntee. Positions on the field mean very little at the moment. Anthony Tohill. Aiming at Eamon Burns. Won by Andrew McCann, but the sideline was too close. Line ball for Derry. Dermot Heaney. Johnny McBride can't quite get away from his marker. The challenge was fair, but quite strong. And McBride is still down on the deck. John McEntee. Armagh certainly didn't play like this in the semi-final against Fermanagh. They have stepped up a gear. Cathal O'Rourke. This time the free is given against Armagh. And Derry will be glad of the referee's decision. Let's just look at this again. Sean Marty Lockhart, one possession. Didn't quite see what the foul was there, but it is a free to Derry.
One little thing I noticed there a moment ago, Anthony Tohill was trying to follow back John McEntee, and he seems to be struggling a little bit with his leg injury. He possibly hasn't trained that much over the last couple of weeks because of it.
Still suffering is Johnny McBride. That's medical attention, and Damien Cassidy, I'm sure, who has taken over the Bannister jersey here today in the absence of Eamon Coleman from the sideline. We'll be very happy to see Johnny McBride resume. Kieran McGeeney. It's a good ball in towards goal scorer Stephen McDonald. Justin McNulty, the cornerback, is up there. Chance for Armagh, and well taken by the cornerback. That's a wonderful run by Justin McNulty. Coming up from a deep roll, and he has to run all the way back again. But he was the one that was providing support for Stephen McDonald, and wisely here took the point.
Again, I think Justin McNulty has been following Patrick Bradley out the field. And one of the points there that is actually worth seeing is that the Derry full back line, in particular Gary Coleman, is struggling a little bit on Stephen McDonald.
Free is for Derry and Paul McFlynn. In towards Paddy Bradley. Armagh, since that goal, playing with far more confidence. Kieran Hughes wanted to steal a few meters, not allowed. Takes the return from Kieran McGeeney. Cathal O'Rourke struggling to get away from a Derry defender. On this occasion, it was Dermot Dugan that was acting in that role. So a chance here for Cathal O'Rourke. This one dropping right in. Armagh Armagh players were inside the small rectangle, so it's going to be a free out to Derry. Dermot Heaney. Sean Marty Lockhart. Gary Coleman is in the middle and calling for it. Joseph Cassidy did well to gather possession despite being fouled. Free quickly taken. Ger Reid, Andrew McCann, John McEntee. Armagh players there in sufficient numbers. The champions settled by that goal, but McEntee just taking his eye off it for a moment. And Muldoon did all the hard work. Dermot Heaney now comes in. Paddy Bradley leaves it for Johnny McBride. Dermot Dugan over the bar. Good response by Derry. Just 1 point between the teams. But Derry more methodical, that little bit slower in terms of creating the space in front of the Armagh goalposts.
Again, one of the things I noticed there is that Armagh are varying their game to good effect. They're running at the Derry half-back line, but they're also letting the long ball through to their two-man full forward line. It's a nice variation.
Paul McGrain. Stephen McDonald now being marked by Gary Coleman, and under pressure from the right half-back from Mahara Felt, sends it wide. Second wide of the game for Armagh. Niall McCusker leaves it to Kieran McKeever. Paddy Bradley being marked by Enda McNulty. Johnny McBride again gone inside. Coming from behind was Dermot Dugan. This is a good run by Bradley onto his right foot, which is not by any means his best, and that is Derry's first wide of the game. But they just seem, Martin, to have difficulty now opening up this Armagh defence.
Yeah, very much so, Marty. The Derry or the Armagh half-back line and midfield are getting back and crowding the area very effectively. And Derry just don't seem to have the forward range today to actually make any impact into the Armagh defence. They're a little bit too dependent, I think, at the moment on Enda Muldoon.
Dermot Heaney. Kendall aim at Enda Muldoon. And again, he wins possession. Now McCusker. Cleanly knocked away from him. Johnny McBride. Anthony Toho. Showing nice control. And matched by accuracy. His second point of this Ulster football final. And the sides level for the second time. Must be said that despite the difficulties up front in opening up the space, Derry are maintaining their composure, keeping possession. It's a good sign. Kieran McGeeney obviously has picked up an injury in that last sequence of play. And requires some medical attention. Certainly his role is vital, Martin, and he's done very well so far on Dermot Dugan, despite Dugan just getting that point a moment ago.
Yeah, like, to my mind, the strength of the Derry team is through the spine of the team, and Dugan has been very good all year for them, but McGeeney is playing very effectively there at the moment. Muldoon is playing again inside. He's getting the better of Ger Reid, but overall it's very evenly balanced at the moment. Midfield are in and out of it, like Tohill's certainly getting forward and getting the odd score, but again John McEntee is having a reasonable game there for Armagh. One of the things noticeable at the moment actually is that everybody's throwing in water bottles. It's so hot out there, and players are just availing of the opportunity to get a little bit of water on board.
And considering the weather here in Clones is going to be a real test for both teams in terms of fitness as the game progresses. Free for Armagh. Pulls 2 Derry players except Sean Marty Lockhart. Henry Downey.
Go, John! Yes.
Throw ball. Correct decision by the referee. McEntee changes the direction of the play over towards Oisin McConville. He can't reach it. It's going to be a free for Derry. Again, they try and seek out Enda Muldoon, and a great change of pace. He did well to beat Ger Reid there. Johnny McBride is inside. He has to go in the Derry direction as such. Eamon Burns, great defending by Armagh. Excellent play. They forced that situation, and full marks to the Armagh defence. It's a good example of the point that we were making earlier, Martin, that Derry are finding it difficult to break down these 6 Armagh defenders.
Yeah, but they're crowding things out too much. When Muldoon is getting the ball, he's not getting support quickly enough, and the players are actually, you know, they're overindulging in the short hand passing and finding that the Armagh team in defence are crowding them out very well.
Henry Downing again. Up towards Enda Muldoon. Enda McNulty sneaks in. Kieran Hughes under a little bit of pressure. Backheel which works out because his captain is keeping a watchful eye. Barry O'Hagan, scorer of 3 points when he was introduced with Dermot Marsden. Paddy McKeever. And he wins a free from this player, Paul McFlynn. Pulled down there by the wing back.
It's going to be a close game. Some heat today, isn't there?
So Cathal O'Rourke again
Yes, so. The thing that we said
will
there.
try for his second point of the match. It's looking good. The white flag is raised, confirming it's the lead once more for Armagh.
Stephen McAvinty, Armagh City, please come to the first aid ambulance at the rear of the Derry worship stand. Stephen McAvinty, Armagh.
Kieran McKeever. Eamon Burns. Can't hold on to it. Line ball for Armagh. Andrew McCann feeding Stephen McDonald. Oisin McConville is in there. Good defending this time by Sean Marty Lockhart. It's interesting though that they do vary that ball, Armagh, every time, sometimes short, sometimes long.
Yeah, but I think Lockhart is starting to read it now, that the diagonal kick is the main kick that's coming in from the Armagh attack.
Gary Coleman. This time Enda Muldoon was fouling his marker, Ger Reid. So it's a free for Armagh.
Just one general point, I think the atmosphere is somewhat subdued, Marty. Maybe it's down to the heat, but so far there's no great pace to the game, and the general atmosphere in the place is very, very quiet.
Well, it's a good point, because Clonus is packed to capacity, and yet they're not in full voice, the crowd. Armagh have it once more. Tony McEntee over towards Stephen McDonald. Barry O'Hagan. Good ball inside. Paul McGrain takes his point. That's his first of the Ulster final. But Paul McGrain's work rate is to be admired. Indeed, his role in this Armagh team is sometimes underestimated. A player that always seems to get into good positions. This was one of them, and he took his point.
Yeah, he seems to be playing at wing forward at the moment, and as far as we can see, that they're a two-pronged attack. Stephen McDonnell and Oisin McConville are the only two inside.
Dermot Heaney keeping the ball in. Paul McFlynn provides the support from the left half-back position. Joseph Cassidy. Good response by Derry. Malahiman gets his first in this final. But that sort of simple play is what Derry should be following. A pattern, certainly, that they should be encouraging.
Yeah, the support came immediately that time from Joe Cassidy, and the point resulted from it.
Just 1 point between the teams. It's less than 5 minutes to go to the half-time whistle. Stephen McDonnell and Cathal O'Rourke combining. And that's another free. Derry seem to be under pressure around that half-back line because they're conceding an awful lot of frees just inside their own 45.
Yes, and indeed, Cathal O'Rourke is playing very effectively there for them at wing forward at the moment. And they're running at the Derry half-back line and drawing those frees.
Well, this time last year, Oisin McConville went on a scoring spree, 2-7 in the Ulster final. His first real opportunity. And he scores with a splendid point. Beautiful striker of the ball. That point by Oisin McConville, by the way, was their 16th free of the game. Here's a chance for Derry to once again respond. Anthony Toll was coming through and brilliantly dispossessed. Great defending again by Armagh. Kieran McGeeney was in the thick of the action there, and obviously in the process of dispossessing Anthony Toll, seemed to turn over an ankle. It was Justin McNulty and Paul McGrain that between them, but off the ball, obviously, Kieran McGeeney got injured. His manager there, Brian McAlinden, is concerned. As Dan Turley, the physio, gives the centre half back some extra attention. Just about 2 minutes left now in this first half. Armagh with a 2-point advantage. Dermot Heaney. Johnny McBride did very well to get there ahead of Tony McEntee. Henry Downey pumping it in long. Ger Reid comes with the big fist to knock it away from Enda Muldoon. Oh, lovely play by Armagh and John McEntee, squeezing in there between two Derry players. Blatant push in the back by Sean Marty Lockhart on Oisin McConville. Gives a free to the Ulster champions. The linesman at this side is still annoyed with McConville taking the free from the wrong position. Play continues on. Michael Curley, the referee, didn't spot his linesman. Nothing came of it anyway. Armagh quite dominant at the moment. Enda McNulty. Gary Coleman reading the situation well. Dermot Heaney. Feeding Niall McCusker. A chance here, and it falls nicely for Eamon Burns. Jerry Reid blocking his path to goal. And it goes back almost to Eamon Burns. Kieran McGeeney is there. And again, it's a very good example of Armagh defending, not fouling. Contrasting with the Derry half-back line, who seem to be in all sorts of difficulties when Armagh run at them.
Yeah, too many of the Derry forward line, as far as we can see at the moment, are struggling with the pace of the game. Joseph Cassidy, Eamon Burns seem to be completely out of it at the moment, whereas in contrast, there's much more, there's a greater liveliness, so to speak, about the Armagh attack when the ball goes into them.
Cathal Short with the red hair and Diarmuid Marsden beside him, two of the Armagh substitutes. Not required so far. Johnny McBride, his work rate to be complimented in this first half. And really the major game plan from a Derry viewpoint is to feed into Muldoon, and when that fails, Martin, I think Derry have problems.
Yeah, they're very single-dimensioned actually. They don't seem to have a plan B at the moment. It's to go into Muldoon, and he's starting to actually struggle a little bit with Jerry Reid. I think he got a little bit of an injury actually.
And as you can see that Joe Brawley is warming up, so obviously the Derry management team are not too happy with what's happening in their attack. But we're into injury time now in this first half, so it's unlikely there'll be a change until the break comes. Dermot Dugan. They're being forced backwards every time. In contrast to Armagh, McBride hits it well. Is it over? No. It was a good effort by Johnny McBride. That's Derry's third wide of the game. But Derry being forced back to employ the players out the field rather than inside.
Yeah, one point that can be made actually, and it's a credit to Armagh, their discipline in defence is so much better than it was in the semi-final against Fermanagh.
That was a day when they were fouling Stephen Maguire in particular, but today I think as Armagh go into the dressing room, Stephen MacDonald may be the hero with a goal and a point from the first half, but defensively they're most impressive. Derry have plenty to think about, because here at half-time in Clonus, Armagh lead the Ulster champions by 1 goal and 6 points to Derry's 7 points. And certainly here in Clonus, the crowd might be subdued, but they certainly will be concerned.
Brian McAlinden, now you're under pressure for time. What are your thoughts at half-time?
Well, I'll be disappointed because the scores that they've got, we have given possession away, and we've conceded a few easy frees, and hopefully we can tighten up for that in the second half.
I know you're under pressure. Thanks, Brian. Cheers.
After emerging, but going back in again, so we are waiting for both Derry and Armagh. And of course, the last time these two teams met in finals, 1977 and 87, well, Derry won when Armagh were going for 3 in a row. And then in 87, Derry won by 11 points to 9. And despite Brian McAlinden's words there at half-time, I do feel deep down that Armagh will be reasonably satisfied with that first half.
They'll be very satisfied with the first half, but disappointed possibly that they're not further ahead, because in terms of quality, they have played the better football than Derry. But I think Colin made a very valid point there, that there isn't a great intensity to Derry's play today. And maybe there's a tiredness about their game. Remember, they had 2 replays that they could have done without, one against Meath and one against Antrim. The Antrim one in particular they could have done without. And I think maybe that tiredness, that maybe is taking its toll now. And it'll be very interesting to see, can they up the tempo that little bit that they need to do if they're to go and win this Ulster Championship.
And of course, there's 10 in total of the 93 side available to Eamon Coleman and his selectors. 5 on the field, 5 off.
That's right. Well, I know they're not looking for the bus pass yet, but at the same...
And Joe Brawley seems to be on the field of play. We'll check exactly who's taken off in a moment. Michael Curley, the match referee, is just waiting for the St. Michael's and Enniskillen band to leave the pitch. Enda Muldoon is still at full forward. And certainly we'll see what alterations there are in just a moment to this Derry attack. Paddy Bradley and Eamon Burns seem to be the two players gone. We start the second half of this Ulster final. And we'll give you information on the tactical plan when we just analyse it here, Martin. Great catch. Free for Armagh. It's exactly what the Ulster champions needed to settle themselves for the next 35 minutes.
Again, that was a fabulous catch by Tony McEntee, who had managed to get into a full forward situation. And again, the difficulty that the Derry defence have in coping with the high ball was once again manifested there.
Cathal O'Rourke going for his third point. And the white flag will once again be raised as Armagh now lead by 3 points. 1-7 to 7 points. And as we had guessed, just confirmation coming over the public address system here, Joe Brawley and Ronan Rocks introduced into the Derry attack for Eamon Burns and Paddy Bradley. Neither of whom really got involved in the first 35 minutes. Dermot Heaney, Henry Downing, centre back that always seems to be available. This is Ronan Rocks. Great defending again by Kieran McGeeney in particular, and Enda McNulty acts as a sweeper. It's a poor ball, however. Very poor clearance, puts the pressure back on Armagh. Ronan Rocks spreading it over towards Paul McFlynn. Chance out on the wing, and that is just going wide. Dermot Heaney just off target. Fourth wide of the game for Derry. Well, it says a lot indeed for Derry that they felt it necessary to change the whole right flank of their defence. Obviously very dissatisfied, Eamon Coleman.
Oh yeah, it was sticking out like a sore thumb though in the first half that they were certainly down the right flank, as Colin had mentioned, very much out of sorts.
Punched down by Anthony Toho. Justin McNulty. Kieran McGeeney. Lovely little flick. Punt pass to Cathal O'Rourke. The overlap provided by Kieran Hughes, who was brought down in a most unsporting manner, because Hughes was going straight through, and that, I'm sure, has to be a yellow card. But great running and great vision by O'Rourke. Superb running by the wing back, and brought down by Joseph Cassidy.
Yeah, it was a cynical foul by Joseph Cassidy. It wasn't any great malice in it, but he just pulled him out of the game and prevented probably what was a certain point from play.
Second yellow card of the game for a Derry player. This time Joseph Cassidy joins Anthony Toho with that particular distinction. Cathal O'Rourke. Not going to miss simple frees like that today. His fourth of the match. And Armagh go into a 4-point advantage. Derry did it in 1975-76. Tyrone did it in 95-96. And that's when Ulster Championship titles back-to-back. Armagh have set out on this particular voyage today, well capable of achieving that particular honour. Joseph Cassidy. Niall McCusker sends it just to the left and wide. Not quite achieving what his opposite number 4, Justin McNulty, did in the first half by putting it over the bar. But it just shows you as well that positions on the field of play today mean very little. Wasn't that far away. Punched down again, this time by Paul McGray. Barry O'Hagan went for the dive and didn't get the free. That was a good call by the referee. Henry Downey being forced over the line by Paul O'Rourke. Marking by Armagh now in the centre of the field. Leaves a lot to be desired. Justin McNulty chasing as Niall McCusker goes forward. Armagh looking controlled. They look quite assured on the ball as Paddy McKeever switches it in towards the corner. Well anticipated by Sean Marty Lockhart. Goes for the return. Available in the middle if he needs him is Dermot Heaney. Johnny McBride brought down by Kieran McGeeney. Free to Derry.
The likes of Sean Marty Lockhart are trying to kind of up the tempo somewhat, but Derry still seem to be finding it very difficult to shake off the lethargy that they showed throughout the first half. And one other point that's worth mentioning, there is a wind starting to get up now, and it's behind the Derry team, so they should have the benefit of that for the remainder of the half.
In fact, it was non-existent in the first half. So Anthony Tohill on the Armagh 45-metre line. Tails to the left. The umpire doesn't acknowledge in any way that it went over the end line, so play continues. John McEntee, or Tony McEntee, was just showing a little bit too much of the ball. Niall McCusker. Dermot Dugan. Great block down by Kieran McGeeney. It falls nicely for Kieran McKeever. Coming through was Dermot Heaney. And met by a fair shoulder. There's some dissent from Armagh, I think, and they're going to suffer consequently, as the referee says an extra 10 metres to Derry. And more. That's about 20 metres. So Armagh be very wise to stop the descent.
The referee is perfectly right.
A point for Derry. Stephen McDonald's goal separating the sides.
An indication actually of the poverty the Derry attack is that 3 times since this half has started, Niall McCusker has come up into the forward line to try and inject some little bit of life in it. And now you can hear the Derry crowd starting to try and lift their team somewhat.
Great catch by Tony McEntee. Paul O'Rourke. Kieran McGeeney. Beautiful play by Armagh. John McEntee at the end of it, under pressure, hits it. Great response. A crucial moment in the game, when your opponents come within a shout of that scoreline and you can respond and go down the field with a defence-splitting move and score a point. And then psychologically, we're on the upward slope. Good score by John McEntee. Joe Cassidy. Enda Muldoon. Front of the post, and that's over the bar. And very much what I said a moment ago about Armagh can now be applied to Derry.
Yeah, the great thing from a Derry point of view is that the response to that score by McEntee is an immediate one from Derry, and they need that and much more of it actually if they're going to go and win the game. But just going back to McEntee's point, the play that preceded that from Kieran McGeeney was absolutely wonderful. There was a block and then there was a tremendous attack by him that set up the score.
Joe Reid beats Enda Muldoon. Seems to have mastered Enda Muldoon now at the moment in comparison to the opening 10 minutes. Stephen McDonald's pass inside was not a good one, and McConville had to work very, very hard. The intended pass for Barry O'Hagan didn't quite work out, and Sean Marty Lockhart gathers. Dermot Heaney to Gary Coleman. And Dermot Dugan. Joe Cassidy leaving it in long, but it's a tactic that doesn't seem to be working for Derry at the moment. John McEntee. Cathal O'Rourke. That's a good ball for Stephen McDonald. Gary Coleman with him, and McDonald gathers superbly. Takes on the right half back. Still McDonald takes it and sends it over the bar. But did he change hands as he was going through? In fact, the umpire has signalled wide. One umpire was bending down to raise the white flag, and the other one signalled wide.
Maybe justice was done in that case.
And I just feel here perhaps that he changed hands. Let's see. I think he switched it from the left to the right. So as Martin was saying, justice was done. Cathal O'Rourke being spoken to by the referee, and Cathal has the distinction of being the first Armagh player to see the yellow card. Dermot Heaney. Two Derry players almost colliding. Joe Brawley and Tony McBride. There's a push by the Derry man. It's a decision, in fact, that could have gone the other way when you see the replay. Paul McGrain. Henry Downing, backpedaling. Barry O'Hagan on the overlap. And O'Hagan's point means that the full forward line have now scored. Between them, a goal and 3 points. It's a great interplay again, great movement off the ball. And this is the sort of defence-splitting move that is the hallmark of perhaps the reigning Ulster champions.
Yeah, the support play there was marvellous. One significant factor is that Joe Brawley hasn't got a single kick of the ball in the second half since he has come in, and it's because the delivery is far too slow coming in there.
And Derry might be thinking of another option of bringing in Seamus Downing. Oisin McConville on the turn. That's a great point. It's hard to believe this is the Armagh side that struggled so much against Fermanagh. And that's no discredit to Fermanagh, but certainly full marks to Armagh to have improved and stepped up a gear so much to be scoring points like this.
What is noticeable off the ball is that Armagh have employed an extra man right in front of the full-back, away off the play, so Derry cannot give the quick high ball in there.
Picked up by Andrew McCann. Stephen McDonald again. Being harassed by Gary Coleman. Long ball inside is gathered by Owen McCluskey. Again, there's so much crowding over at that side. Anthony Tohu. And Derry have little or no options going forward. Across the field they have about 3 or 4 players, but actually going forward there are none. They'll try once more. Muldoon unable to reach it as Ger Reid now seems to have mastered the big full forward. And from a tactical point of view, if Derry are to have any chance, they need to develop another strategy. Route 1 to goal is now blocked and unlikely to pay any sort of dividend for Derry. Once again, they'll pump it in long. Again, look at the Armagh defence. This time, Ger Reid is accused of fouling, but certainly Armagh players are protesting. And it didn't seem to be there. It seemed to be fisting the ball down, but it's a free against Armagh. And a chance here for Derry.
What was significant there is that as the high ball came in, there was a 5-to-1 situation with 5 defenders against 1 attacker.
Anthony Tohu will take the point. Four points between the teams again. So Seamus Downey is on at corner forward at the moment, and gone off there, as you can see, is Dermot Dugan, who scored a point in this Ulster final. Meanwhile, referee Michael Curley is having a word with Joseph Cassidy and Kieran Hughes. And there's been little or none in terms of off-the-ball activity, played in a very sporting fashion. There's Damien Cassidy. And a day so far that hasn't worked out according to the plan. Dermot Heaney gets a touch. Joseph Cassidy gives it back to Dermot Heaney. Chance here. Joe Brawley gets his first touch. 4 Armagh players. Again, he has to go into reverse, go back out towards his own goalpost, and eventually it comes to Johnny McBride, and he gets his 3rd point. And despite conceding that score, Martin, you'd have to compliment Armagh. Defensively, they seem to be very focused.
They are very focused, but at the same time there's only a kick in the ball between the teams, and that would be certainly a source of worry to the Armagh management and players.
We're back now to that Stephen McDonnell goal separating the teams. And there's plenty of time. Some fouling by Derry. Initiative swings to Paul O'Rourke. Pumps it in long. Gary Coleman gives to his captain, Anthony Tohu. Seamus Downey, introduced just a few moments ago, over towards Enda Muldoon. Survives one challenge, and referee Michael Curley, I'm pretty sure, will in fact give a hot ball here. And despite that hefty shoulder, Muldoon still struggled and battled on to win possession.
We tend to be critical of referees at times, but I must say Michael Curley is having a very fine game today, and he's probably contributed in many ways to, you know, allowing the game to flow, even though there was 28 frees in the first half.
You can see Enda Muldoon's left thigh there, very heavily strapped. And at the moment, he still remains one of their best options in terms of scoring power. But really what they should do, Martin, is bring maybe Joe Brawley further out to the corner and pump it in low to Enda Muldoon. Give him a bit of space. Here's Joe Brawley now. Brilliantly knocked away by Kieran McGeeney. Picked up by Kieran Hughes. Stephen McDonald. Providing the overlap is Paddy McKeever. Took too many steps, and it's going to be a free for Derry. And once again, the replay proves that the referee is correct. Johnny McBride and Paul McFlynn, not alone inter-county mates, but club mates as well from the loop. Dermot Heaney. Enda McNulty will use Ger Reid. Confident play again by Armagh, who certainly did their homework for this Ulster final. And the homework defensively has worked splendidly. Kieran McKeever, who last Sunday won an Ulster hurling championship medal. Armagh now counter-attacked. Paul O'Rourke. Stephen McDonald looking around for the options. Barry O'Hagan is available, and that is just gone wide. Well, we have admired Armagh at various times in this game, but the truth is they're only just one strike away.
They're only one strike away, but at the same time they have much more inventiveness and they're much more creative in the attack than Derry. There doesn't seem to be any room up there in the Derry attack at all, and it's a credit to the Armagh defence.
Enda McNulty and his older brother Justin by 2 years in the full back line. Johnny McBride was fouling Kieran McGeeney. Has to be a free for Armagh. Henry Downey unable to hold on to it. Barry O'Hagan needs a little bit of support. The referee felt that he had the time to distribute it. Took the wrong option, held on to it. And possibly he had. And the Derry captain has scored 4 points. Wind assisted, goes for his 5th, but it's just to the right. It's hard to explain it, Martin, but Derry do look quite lethargic.
They are all right, but I must say they're playing most of the game now in the Armagh half. But Armagh have been very clever with their tactics. They have not allowed their cornerback to go out the field to follow the roaming Derry corner forward. And as a result, when the ball comes in, they have numbers in there to defend effectively.
And Derry will try once more, but fail. Gary Coleman with Stephen McDonald. McDonald was fouling the wing back, so it's going to be a free for Derry. Quickly taken. Ronan Rocks into the middle. Muldoon back to Johnny McBride. Had to rush his shot, and under pressure was forced into the air. It's Derry's 7th wide of the match. Just over 10 minutes left now in this Ulster final. 10 minutes to decide whether it's Derry or Armagh that'll be travelling to Croke Park in mid-August for an All-Ireland semi-final against the Munster champions. Paul McFlynn going to take the sideline kick. No real option available in terms of players running off the ball, so it had to be a long, high one. That didn't work out very well for them, because Armagh have possession. Kieran Hughes. Good running again from a deep defensive role. Great play again by Tony McEntee. Now runs into trouble. Comes back towards Kieran Hughes. And under pressure, sends it wide. Henry Downey with brother Seamus available here. As we watch the replay of that wide. Back to the live action now. Joe Brawley in towards Enda Muldoon. 3 Armagh defenders there, but they're coming through. McBride! Oh, what a goal! My word! The one and only strike that Derry have had on goal results in a smashing effort by Johnny McBride. There were plenty of Armagh defenders there. Ronan Rocks fed McBride, but what about that for clinical finishing? It was quite simply superb.
But the most significant thing of that was Brawley got the ball and gave the ball in early where it was going and no support in there from the Armagh defence.
That was far from lethargic, I can assure you. The sides level for the 3rd time. Now we're going to have 9 minutes of intense play. This is exactly what the Ulster final needed. Armagh seem to be coasting, but we did mention earlier, despite their superiority in various parts of the field, they weren't able to put Derry away.
Very much so, and the significant thing about it, between the 17th and the 26th minute, okay, Derry hadn't scored, but they had attacked repeatedly, and I think Armagh maybe had been lulled into a sense of complacency, and that goal came out of nothing.
No wonder that Eamon Coleman's on his feet at the moment. And so is everybody in Clonus. It's a game at times that Armagh seem to have won and Derry lost. Sean Marty Lockhart, Joe Brawley. Joseph Cassidy. Pumping a good ball into Seamus Downey, and on the turn, brilliantly blocked by Tony McEntee. Plenty of Armagh defenders. Paul O'Rourke playing deep inside his own half. Fouled. That's going to be a free. Quickly taken. Kieran McGeeney. Machine McConville. Kieran McKeever with him. Nobody really running off the ball for him, and he had no option but to deliver it long. Neil McCusker. Suddenly, Derry have gained confidence. Paul McFlynn is available inside. This is Joe Brawley that has possession. Derry player down injured and remains down at the moment as it comes back towards Joe Cassidy. And that's gone wide. This is a great block down by Kieran McGeeney earlier. And Derry were on a roll after that brilliant goal by Johnny McBride. Armagh make changes. Alan O'Neill has been introduced. And we've yet to see who's going off. It could be Paddy McKeever. It is Paddy McKeever, in fact, that's going off, and Alan O'Neill from Cullerville is on. Can Armagh produce another defence-splitting move? Gary Coleman was pulling the jersey. Michael Early clearly indicating the reason why he gave the free against Gary Coleman.
Again, replacing number 12 on the Armagh team.
Derry are warming up a substitute, Fergal McCusker, as Oisin McConville drops this in and over the bar. A hat-trick of points for the Crossmaglen Rangers star gives Armagh the lead.
Marvellous point by McConville. That's Armagh's first score, I think, in 18 minutes, but that was a pressure kick, and it's a tremendous response from McConville.
Here come Derry now. And every time, particularly in the second half, that Armagh have scored, Derry have responded with something similar. And while all that was happening, John McEntee was shown a yellow card for a late tackle on Ronan Rocks. Joseph Cassidy is the player that's gone off, as Derry have this free. It's extremely tense in Clones. Andrew McCann was fouled as he was getting that ball out. Derry are disgusted with the decision, but I think you can see here McCann was being fouled by Niall McCusker. Less than 3 minutes left. Armagh 112, Derry 111. Is there an equaliser in this Derry team? Their character and stamina fully tested by the reigning Ulster champions. Ball given outside to Ronan Rocks. Tries to dance his way around several Armagh defenders. Kieran McKeever dropping this one in, and just to the right and wide. Another opportunity gone for Derry. 2 minutes left in St. Diarmac's Park, Clones. And McKeever had the opportunity to be the hero, but unfortunately for Kieran, drove it wide. Paul McGrain seems to be in trouble now. And once again, Dan Turley, a physiotherapist with the Armagh side, is required on the field of play. Paul McGrain's role here has been crucial for Armagh. Eamon Coleman looking on. He can do nothing now but hope that his players will believe in themselves for the final 30 seconds or so. Possibly a little bit more because of injuries and delays. The replay, if it happens, I believe, will be here in Clonus on the 30th of July. The pass from Henry Downing was a poor one. And Armagh will take their time. I think some Armagh supporters won't give the ball back. Now they have it. As James Byrne comes on for Armagh. Referee is calling back play because he's allowing the substitute to be introduced. And it looks like Paul McGrain. Yes, it is Paul McGrain that's departing the scene. Well, we're into injury time in Clonus. And all Armagh have to do now is hold possession. Derry have to get possession back. Paul O'Rourke is fouled. And there's no rush with this particular Armagh free. It's a wonderful catch under severe pressure. James Byrne. And here come Derry. This must surely be their last chance. Dermot Heaney. The support is Johnny McBride. He's fouled and it's a free. A minute and 14 seconds of injury time played. Is it possible for Derry to level the match from this particular free? And Dermot Heaney is waiting for his captain to arrive. Anthony Tohill has this pressure kick to level the Ulster final. Eamon Coleman on his feet. Are Derry about to depart the championship? Or will their captain force a replay of this Ulster final? Hits it well. It's floating to the right and wide. Armagh rejoice. Derry devastated. Michael Curley blows the full-time whistle as Derry's last chance is shown. Goal scorer Stephen MacDonald celebrates a historic win as Armagh win their 9th Ulster title and join, over the last 30 years, counties like Derry and Tyrone by retaining their Ulster title. Armagh are heading back to Croke Park, where they will face the Munster champions. The new Munster champions that you will see live on your television screens over the next hour and a half or so. It's a great day for Armagh. They were overall the better side, but full credit to Derry. They fought back brilliantly with that Johnny McBride goal.
Yeah, thoroughly deserved victory for Armagh. They were the better side, they were the livelier side, they were the more inventive side. And there was a great comeback by Derry, but the victory rests where it deserves.
And rightly Armagh celebrate. Their performance stepped up a gear from the games against Tyrone and particularly for Mana, but rightly so. Armagh retain the Ulster title on the scoreline of 112 to Derry's 111.
Armagh are on their way to Croke Park, but will they play Kerry or play Clare? The Munster final coming up after the break. So, Armagh champions in Ulster, but there's one more major trophy to be handed out this afternoon. That, of course, is the Munster crown. And as the Armagh supporters celebrate, we're going to cross over then to the Gaelic grounds in Limerick. Will it be Kerry? Will it be